Okay, so now we're going to see about taking the suspension out of the Skidoo. This one's a 2010 XR 1200, which is not the easiest one to get out of because the sled is heavy. So it's harder to maneuver around and tip over. But it's the same thing for all of the XBs and the XRs. Same exact concept, really same for the Revs too. So this will be the easiest and quickest way that I know to get it out. First thing you want to do is get a few tools ready. If you have air tools, that makes it a lot easier. This particular sled on the front, the two bolts on the front, it's a 17 millimeter nut on the back, a 16 millimeter nut bolt on the front, and on the back it's an 18 millimeter bolt, sorry. So we have these tools ready. We have a couple boards to prop up the bumper at this height that the sled is sitting there, and then we have a tool that we made to prop it over on, which are just pieces from Home Depot plumbing parts. This particular one is about 2 feet long, and its purpose is basically to slide into the top of the steering post so you can tip the sled over, and it'll rest on this base rather than trying to prop it up with 2x4s and things like that. On the XR, the side panel sticks out quite a lot, so even when we put the piece in, we need to take the side cover off first, because otherwise when I roll it on its side, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the side, which I don't want, so I'll end up taking that off. If you don't have air, you may have to, on the back bolts, one will come out, then in all likelihood, the other one will get stuck. So if you get in that routine, you can back one out, put a wrench behind it, tighten it back on the wrench, then undo the other side, and then you can unspin this one, the wrench will fall out, and then you can take it the rest of the way out. That's one way to do it. Another way is to take one out, put a nut on it, put it back in, tighten the nut, loosen the other side, loosen the nut, and then take it out. But you have to get creative if you don't have air. Electric impact wrenches work also just as good as air, and it makes it a lot quicker. The other thing to do is always remove the back ones first, because if you remove the front ones, the whole suspension will slide forward, and on the side of the sled there's these little rivets, and on the race sled they stick into the tunnel quite a bit, and if you undo the front ones first, they're going to go forward and jam on those rivets and be really hard to get out. So undo the back ones first. So that's our general routine once everything's all laid out. So now we'll give it a chance here. We'll start a stopwatch and see how quick I can get this out by myself. I'm pretty sure I can do it in under 5 minutes. Of course, if you're in a snowbank outside by yourself at a racetrack, you don't have air tools, it's going to take longer, but if you have an electric impact wrench, it's really not any harder to do outside. In a way, it's easier because you have all kinds of room. I always tip it to the chain case side. If you have any water, any fluids, any antifreeze, it might drip a little bit, at least it won't drip on your clutches. And really with the RS or with the XR, you have no trouble shipping it to the chain case side. On some of the trail sleds where the oil tank is vented, the cap, just take the cap off, put a plastic bag on, put the cap back on, so that when you tip it, no oil comes out the oil injection. It's no problem on this sled, no problem on the race sled. Okay. Okay, now we're going to start the stopwatch and see how long it takes me by myself to do this. So my handy assistant here is going to start it, and then I'll be on my own.
Ready?
Right. Yep.
Go.
Okay. I'm going to go to this side of the sled. Pieces of wood at the back. Put my bar in. Undo my side panel because I don't want the sled sitting on it. I'm going to put that out of the way. Come around the back. Take a second. Pop a little weight under the tunnel because I don't want that to flop out. Undo my two rear bolts first. That's one. That's two. Switch tools. Undo my two front ones. There's a washer and a nut on the back, so I want to catch those. Okay, we got them. Hold this one and pull it out. Okay, that's one side. I'm going to go over to the other side, do the same thing. have to basically tip the sled over. I want to make sure that's in all the way. I'll just tip it right over. Okay, the back comes out first. Slide it to the back. I don't have to loosen anything. I just have to clear all the little nubs. Pull it out. Stop the stopwatch. Stop it. Look at it.
A minute, 58 seconds, 37.
Okay, look. Okay, so the suspension's out. The sled up on its side. It's blocked good. That's all it takes to get it out. Going back in is almost as easy. But the reason I took it out is I need to rebuild both the shocks, and then I'll put it back in. Make sure when you take it out, you don't lose any of your spacers. You have 2 for the front, and you have 2 for the back. When I put them back in, I always put a lot of grease on them, basically so they stay in, so you don't drop them out. Otherwise, you're good to go. So I'll make another video, hopefully in an hour or so, once I get done with the shocks and checking everything else in here, to put it back in. That's it.